Welcome to Brooklyn Center High School and James Norwick Field for Homecoming Day at Brooklyn Center as the Centaurs take on the St. Agnes Aggies in the Twin City Metro Rivers District here in week number 5 of the prep football season. Hi, I'm Jay Wilcox. Allie Mosley will be joining me from the sideline this afternoon. As you see, the teams coming in, St. Agnes with a 3-1 record and Brooklyn Center at 1-3. Really, 2 of the Centaurs' losses were pretty close games, and the other one kind of got away from them late. And their new head coach, Chauncey Williams-Bearfield, moved up from an assistant last year. He said, gosh, we've had some mistakes at key times, whether it be penalties or a couple of other things. Otherwise, he said we could easily be a little bit better record than what we have. Maybe, he felt like they really had a good chance to win in all of their games. And young team for sure for the Centaurs, and unfortunately they're going to be a little bit short-handed here today as well, partly because of injury and a couple of other off-the-field things too. So he said, next man up though. We got to, be ready to step in, do what you've been taught, and work from there. Meanwhile, St. Agnes also quite a young group. They have done well so far with those 3 victories and 4 starts, but quite a few sophomores mixed in. They really only had 2 really full-time, two-way returning starters this year. And but they've done well. They had a close loss last week to a big rival, but coming out looking for a victory on the road here today. They'll be pretty much a run-heavy team and look to play some solid defense here. So it'll be kind of an interesting matchup between the two as Brooklyn Center will be playing their second-string quarterback today because their sophomore starter, Romero Sikora, was injured in gym class, in fact, and so he will be replaced today by Jalen Simmons, a big freshman who is a little raw but definitely has some talent. Let's take a look at key players to look at in today's game, starting with the visiting Aggies. We've picked out Andy Brownell. He is a running back and also a defensive back for St. Agnes. And you see he's rushed for just under 300 yards in the first 4 games, averaging 7 yards per pop. He and John Petros do most of the rushing for St. Agnes. He also leads the team with 4 receptions, so you can tell they haven't been throwing the ball a whole lot in their first half of the season, which is typical for the offense that they run. And for Brooklyn Center, a guy who's gotten off to a pretty good start in the backfield, Jalen Dillard Shannon. You see one of that talented sophomore group, and he's rushed for just over 300 yards and a couple TDs. And Coach said with Simmons at quarterback, they're not necessarily going to change anything in terms of how much they throw, but certainly if they can get Jalen established in the run game, they should be able to open up the pass a little bit more. The number's actually pretty good for Brooklyn Center in terms of what they've been able to accomplish offensively overall through these first 4 games, despite being 1-3. So they've definitely got some speed. They've got a couple guys that can break things open, but again, playing a little shorthanded, a couple receivers out, and then having to switch and have Simmons in there at quarterback. We'll see how that all plays out for Brooklyn Center. It was really a festive atmosphere out in the parking lot as they had some tailgating going on for homecoming here in this battle as Brooklyn Center gets set to take on St. Agnes. We'll take a timeout again. Allie Mosley will be joining us from the sideline as well here. Get set for football. It's the Aggies and the Centaurs here on CCX.
CCX Media, your source for great local programming, is now available on Roku and Apple TV. Our free app allows you to stream all 3 of our channels live. You'll also have access to a large on-demand library, including daily newscasts and full sporting events. To find the app, go to the store and search CCX and download our free app. Then sit back and enjoy all of your favorite local content. Now available on Roku and Apple TV.
And welcome back here to Brooklyn Center as the Centaurs getting set to burst through that Centaur Nation paper there, I'm thinking, here on homecoming. Nice to see a lot of students around, and obviously they've had to go to afternoon games here with lighting issue that they had developed last year. So I think probably helped to get a lot more kids here, though, for this afternoon game, and they were having a lot of fun out in the parking lot. As I said, on the sideline today for today's game is Allie Mosley. Let's go down to Allie.
Jay, a big change up for Brooklyn Center coming into their homecoming game today. They don't have their starting quarterback or two of their top receivers, all three of which play on both ends of the ball. So I asked Coach Williams, hey, what is the game plan then? He said, hey, it is next man up. In the face of adversity, you have to adapt. So BC tonight will be adapting to a 13-year-old, 6'4" quarterback who usually plays wide receiver for this team. But all season, Coach Williams says their team motto has been TNT, standing for it takes no talent to give effort. It is going to take a lot of TNT effort here on homecoming night to get past a pretty tough St. Agnes team. Jay?
Thanks, Allie. And Coach really stressed, too, in the preseason and today that he's, really working on making sure the kids are doing the right things in school, make sure they're concentrating in class. He said, I stress the student part of student-athlete first. And if we, stick with things, and that's going to eventually help these kids a lot more than just being really worried about what their win-loss record is, especially right away. He said, that kind of stuff will take care of itself if you do the right things on the way. And I really like that part about the effort. He said it doesn't matter how big you are or how young you are. If you give your effort, we'll be happy with you.
Linebacker Ronald Washington.
St. Agnes is going to get the football first here as they send back deep Caleb Flood, number 3, and number 7, Jacob Bresney. Doing the kicking for Brooklyn Center, Brian Enriquez Lopez. And he will get set to boot it away here as the Aggies should get their offense out there first, pending the result of the opening kickoff, of course. Sun just peeking out now as we get set to kick this one off. It's actually a really nice afternoon. Kick drilled on the ground. It takes a big high hop, and eventually Caleb Flood grabs it around the 24, and he'll be wrapped up at the 30. So pretty good kick coverage there by Brooklyn Center, and of course that ball taking that high hop really eliminated Flood's opportunity to do a whole lot with it. He is in fact the son of Tom Flood, the Aggies head coach, who is really in his second stint with this program. He's his third year back, and he was their coach in the 90s for about a half dozen years as well. Took him to state a couple times. They've got a sophomore at quarterback, Isaac Schmidt, and Petros, one of their two top running backs, also a sophomore. See what Schmidt has done. Hasn't thrown the ball a whole lot. He'll run out of the eye with double tight end and one wide receiver. Schmidt turns and hands it off to Petros, and he is wrapped up and dropped. Nice play defensively by Ronald Washington, who's been one of the leading tacklers for the Centaurs, and no gain on the play on first down, as Washington did a nice job getting away from his block and just put a big bear hug on and brought him to the ground. So 2nd down and 10 now for the Aggies. Schmidt will turn and hand it off to Petros again, and he is brought down in the open field this time by Kaladi Johnson. Coming up for the stop, and a short loss on this play, so it'll be 3rd down and long here for the Aggies. So 3rd down, 11 coming up for St. Agnes. See if they might look to go to the air. Again, a team that doesn't throw it a whole lot, but we'll see if that changes here. It looks like Schmidt's going to work from the shotgun. Yeah, they do spread things out a little bit more. A couple receivers set, a single back next to Flood. Or excuse me, next to Schmidt. And we're going to have a stoppage, a timeout taken here by Brooklyn Center. A little bit different formation, and I think, obviously we talked, as Allie mentioned too, they're without a couple receivers and their quarterback. You think about how it affects offense, but it also affects defense because those guys are starters on that side of the ball as well. So you've got some new people moving in. It's kind of understandable that you might have a little bit of confusion. There's a look at Tom Flood, the Aggies coach, and said, overall we pretty much like what we've done. A very close loss. He said it kind of showed up in the fourth quarter last week that Concordia was older than them. They're a big, strong team and kind of wore them down. They ended up losing at 9-7, but they'd come out of the gate pretty strong. A couple of shutouts in the first 2 weeks of the season over Minneapolis teams, Edison and Roosevelt, and then took it to Humboldt pretty good before that loss to Concordia. And Brooklyn Center playing a very similar schedule, of course, since they're in the same sub-district. They lost a close one to Humboldt. They took Harding 49-20. Rec beat them 43-22, and then Academy Force beat them by 8 last week. So here we go with this third down and long play. Schmidt looking to throw, fade down the sideline, and that one is way out of bounds, looking for Caleb Flood there. Pretty well covered, and he wasn't going to take any chances there, and ball was clearly going to be out of bounds anyway there. So it looks like a 3-and-out for St. Agnes here, as Brooklyn Center does a nice job defensively. 2 quick run stops and then a pass that goes out of bounds. So the 4th down here for St. Agnes. They've still got Schmidt in there. No, actually, he's going to be the up man, as Luke Plowman is their punter. Plowman gets away a pretty good kick. Jalen Simmons trying to track it down over there, but he's just going to have to watch it bounce, and it'll go out of bounds at around the 32-yard line of Brooklyn Center. So nice kick there. About a 38-yard punt there with the roll included. So Brooklyn Center with the football for the first time. And as we talked about, Simmons will be at the quarterback spot for BC. Their original starter was only a sophomore, and Simmons, the young freshman. They list him at 6'5", 200, although Coach told us that he is actually more like 6'4", but still pretty good sized young man. And they said, you might see some young mistakes out there today, but we do think he certainly has potential. And we will have a procedure penalty against Brooklyn Center before they can get that first snap underway. And penalties have been an issue for the Centaurs. They had some touchdowns called back. Their point totals have been pretty decent anyway in their first 4 games, even though, like I said, 1-3, but they've had several touchdowns called back. And Simmons drops the snap, a scramble for it. And looks as though Simmons got it back, but will be another loss on the play. See, kind of looking upfield, I think, here. It was a good snap. Couldn't put that one on the snapper. They will lose about 3 or so on that play, although obviously it's much better than losing the football. So be 2nd down and about 17 or so here for Brooklyn Center. Simmons looking to flare it out. Dillard Shannon with the grab. Makes a nice move to beat the first defender, and then spun down as he gets to about the 33-yard line. So nice job getting plenty of yardage back right there. Hit about 7 or so on this one. Just a little toss out in the flat. Had to turn for it, but able to get upfield and then made a nice move. So 3rd down and 8 coming up. Ball on the 33-yard line here for Simmons and crew. He's going to hand it off to Dillard Shannon. Oh boy, he is met hard. Solid stop there defensively by George Stark, one of the tackles. As Stark, not fooled by this one, got off his block and a big hit. And a loss of a couple on that play. I think Centaur's hoping to cross him up and come with a little counter there on that 3rd and long, and instead they are stuffed. So Enriquez Lopez will be the punter for Brooklyn Center, and Flood and Bresney drifting back deep here for St. Agnes. So each team getting a quick stop. High short kick, BC, none of their guys left. I think the ball was snapped early, and Flood coming up with it. Flood down the sideline, and Dillard Shannon able to drop him at the 25. I think that ball was snapped before the count was in, so the punter did a nice job. Enriquez Lopez getting it away, but it took BC a long time to get off the ball because they weren't ready. Watch this, the ball snapped and nobody's moving yet. I think the count might have been supposed to be a little later, and you see fielded by Flood, and he had a lot of room. I thought for a moment he might go all the way there, but instead Dillard Shannon got him at the 25-yard line. About a 40-yard return there, so Aggies in good field position here at Brooklyn Center's 25. Schmidt back under center here. And a nice gainer this time. Nice cut, and all the way down near the 10. Dillard Shannon a stop on John Petros. And he will be stopped, it looks like just inside the 10, or at the 10-yard line. A gain of 15 and a first down for St. Agnes. So their first couple running plays were stuffed, but not that time. Nice cut by Petros. Again, he is right there with Brownell as their leading rushers for the season. So first down and goal to go right at the 10 now for Schmidt and the Aggies. Hand off back to Petros, getting to the outside. He's just tripped up, and he'll be short of the goal line, but not by much. That'll be about a 9-yard pickup. It looked like he was going to get into the end zone. The last guy that really had a chance was able to drag him down here, just got the ankle, and you see very close to being in, but not quite. So second and goal from the 1 coming up here for St. Agnes. Their second possession of the game. A good punt return set them up in great field position, and now they're trying to punch it in. More of a split back look as Brownell in there in the backfield. Back to Petros, right side. He lunges, and he is in for the touchdown. Sophomore John Petros carrying it in for the touchdown for the Aggies. And they will take the 6-0 lead. So able to get a nice defensive stop, and then good punt return, and that set him up at the 25, and they are able to finish it off. And Luke Plowman will come in to attempt the extra point. Schmidt is his holder. And the kick is up, and it is good with 7:08 to play in the first quarter. St. Agnes goes up now by a 7-0 count. To get another look at it, it was the previous run that really set him up nicely, that got him down to the 1, and then just cutting in. He could see the goal line and went low as he could. Actually a pretty good tackle there, but not enough. Egan Moa, on any other play where they weren't just a yard out of the end zone, that would have been a nice stop, but obviously he got just enough to get it over the goal line and convert. So Tom Flood and the Aggies take a 7-0 lead, and we'll see what Brooklyn Center can do in response here. Plowman getting set to kick it off. Unlike a lot of recent days here, I don't think it's wind should be much of a factor in this game. A little bit of a breeze, but not anything to really throw everything off. There you see Petros, the outside guy on the kick coverage team, and obviously schools this size, it's not unusual at all to see your guys playing pretty much everywhere. Bauman will boot it away here. And it slips through the hands there of Simmons, but then he picks it up, trying to find some space. Simmons to the outside, sheds a tackler, tiptoes down the sideline. He went out of bounds at the 31 or 32 yard line. Nice return. It didn't start out like it was going to be all that much, but he was able to pick his way upfield and a nice stiff arm. You see, as a freshman, he's a little larger than your average freshman. It didn't start out well with the bobble, but then kind of waits for the blocking to set up, makes a man miss with a cut there. Got a nice block from Dillard Shannon. There's the stiff arm, and you'll see he's trying to tiptoe along there, but yeah, he was definitely out. And they'll spot it at the 31. So Simmons, no time to rest though after that return, as he gets into a position as the quarterback for BC, and now they are going to use a timeout. They were a little bit slow getting set up there, and so they'll use their second timeout here before beginning this second possession for BC. Reminder to vote for our CCX Sports Play of the Week, brought to you by Chick-fil-A in Maple Grove. As each week we have 4 new plays. They're online at ccxmedia.org, and go ahead and vote. Each Monday we announce the new winner on our Sports Jam show. So thank you to Chick-fil-A of Maple Grove. Three receivers set again here for Brooklyn Center as Simmons gets set to take the snap. Dillard Shannon offset next to him. Bobble the snap a little bit, and Simmons is going to be wrapped up. Aggies trying to rip the football free. There'll be a loss of about 3 on this play. I'm not sure if there was possibly supposed to be a handoff or at least a play action look out of that, but when he bobbled the snap, it kind of threw the timing off, and at that point Simmons just had to get what he could out of it, which wasn't a whole lot because the Aggies were there. Second down and 13 now for the Centaurs. Goes to Dillard Shannon this time. First tackler got a piece of him and then finished off by Tim Tibasar after Sam Lopez got a little bit of him. Got back to just about the original line of scrimmage, or a little shy of that, so bring up a third down and about 11 for Brooklyn Center. Just the one pass so far for Simmons, a little pass that he completed on the flat to Dillard Shannon. Throwing over the middle into traffic. Ooh, and almost intercepted. Caleb Flood got his left hand on it as Simmons trying to force one in there. There was quite a bit of traffic across that middle. And another look at it here, as pretty well covered on the play was Terrion Rogers, so probably fortunate that one wasn't picked off, and we'll end up having to punt again here as Enriquez Lopez will come on to kick. Flood and Bresney back deep. High snap over his head. Enriquez Lopez will pick it up and try to run. And there's a flag down on the play, and he is brought down at the 15-yard line. More than likely, you'd think this is probably a penalty on the offense based on when and where that flag flew. It is, in fact, a holding against Brooklyn Center, and certainly St. Agnes going to decline that, and they'll have the football in great field position at the 15-yard line of Brooklyn Center. The snaps have been a little bit of an issue on, with the quarterback exchange, and this one is up and over the head. Enriquez Lopez, at this point, feeling like he doesn't really have a chance to get the ball away as a punter, and so he tries to run, and this didn't have much room to go anywhere, and obviously as a lineman he's probably not terribly likely to make a lot of guys miss with jukes there. But so the Aggies get it again in good field position. Last time it was a punt return that brought them down to the 25. This time they take over on downs at the 15. Schmidt looking over the defense here. Going to go with the toss out to Petros. A lot of room out there on the left. He makes one cut and he will walk in for the touchdown. Brooklyn Center didn't seem to be expecting that one out to the toss on the left side, and Petros will stroll in for the TD. I think even he was a little surprised how much green grass he had in front of him there. So Petros scoring his second touchdown of this first quarter. Plowman will come on to attempt the extra point here for the Aggies. Pretty good rush, but he got the kick up in good order and puts it through. So Plowman 2 for 2 on extra points. And now with 5:27 to go in the first quarter, it becomes 14-0 in favor of St. Agnes. So not technically a turnover there for Brooklyn Center, but obviously that bad punt snap giving the Aggies great field position. You get a look there and really nobody out there. The receiver out on that side ran his man off. They didn't get a look back at the ball and were looking pass and see some good blocks on the edge, but Brooklyn Center just didn't flow very well to that football either. So Aggies get the touchdown to go up by 14. Plowman getting set to kick it off here for St. Agnes with Simmons and Dillard Shannon waiting deep. He's going to spin one along the ground. Not sure if that hit the Centaur player or not. Looks like they must rule that it did. Yes, official signaling that it was touched. So it will be BC ball, but at the 21-yard line there. That's a tough one to handle, and you're seeing more and more teams go with that type of kickoff rather than, giving it deep to the return man with some options to go. A lot of times you're seeing it kicked on the ground. I'm not saying for sure if that was intentional or not, but the football obviously can take some strange hops and can be difficult for anybody, but especially guys who are primarily out there to block, to handle. So we'll see what the Centaurs can do with it this time around. They'll start on their 21-yard line. Simmons will hand it off. Dillard Shannon wrapped up early on and brought down. And on the stop, several Aggies, but Lopez there first, it looked like, and also got some help from Stark. And a very minimal gain, we'll give him a yard. He's more like a half yard or so, but second down and 9 coming up now for BC. It looks like a pretty solid line for St. Agnes. They've been able to get off some blocks pretty well early on here. Simmons looking to run it, and he is wrapped up and now brought down as again it's Stark, who's made some big plays early in this game. Stark was trying to see if he couldn't rip that football free a little bit. And this is going to be a loss of about 6 on the play for Simmons. That looked like a planned run all the way as he was taken off toward the sweep, but they're having trouble getting Stark blocked. So third and about 15 now for Brooklyn Center here. As we approach 4 minutes to go in this opening quarter. Simmons, little swing pass, and Dillard Shannon is wrapped up and thrown down. Another physical tackle that time. Javon Jones makes that stop for St. Agnes, and they'll lose a few more on this play. I thought at first, I was wondering if that hit was legal, but it looks like it was. I thought perhaps he had got him around the face mask or even, like a horse collar kind of thing, but was not the case. Just a high tackle, but a physical one. And you lose a few more yards on that play. And this time the punt snap's much better. Enriquez Lopez, a high, short kick. Flood's going to come up and grab it at about the 38, trying to get to the edge and then wrapped up. Good strength on that tackle for Brooklyn center Washington. Once he got a hold of him, wasn't going to let him go. It's going to be good field position again for sure, and a nice return by Flood, but I tell you, if Ronald Washington didn't have some good grip strength, that one would have gone farther. It looked like he was a little bit hobbled as he got up. You can see why they like this sophomore class for BC. They list Washington 6'5", 225. He's an athlete. So Aggies football at the BC 32, third time in a row that they've gotten the ball in very good field position. They've been able to capitalize the first 2 times. We'll see if they can do it again or if BC can come up with the stop. Brownell is the single back this time as they've got Petro split out to the right side of their offense at the bottom of the screen. Schmidt, a little mix-up. Then they go with the little toss out to Brownell. And he is hemmed in and he is brought down. Don't think that one developed quite the way they were looking for it to. Cyrus Patterson-Lucas on the stop there for Brooklyn Center. It will be about a 2-yard gain, but it appeared as though when Schmidt turns, he's looking to hand it off, and then he goes with the little toss. So they were not on the same page on what was supposed to happen there, and the Aggies fortunate to even get a couple yards out of it. Nice stop by that guy, Cyrus Patterson-Lucas, the 6', 180-pound senior. So 2nd and 8 here for St. Agnes. 2-back set this time with Brownell and Petros in there. Handoff goes to Petros. Ran into his own blocker and then gets free to the outside, cuts it up and dragged down, but he will have enough for the first down. Be about a 15-yard pickup there. And so the Aggies will get the first down. As you see right here, he runs into his own guy who's delivering a nice block and then bounces it to the outside and eventually run down by Dillard Shannon. But it'll be first down from the 16-yard line now for St. Agnes as they try and add a 3rd score of this first quarter. They're already up 14-0 here on Brooklyn Center. Hand off to Brownell, and he is met and wrapped up. Nice job getting to him and hanging on tight there for Brooklyn Center was Mua, I think, who got there first. Meter came in to help out, but he was wrapped up already by that point. So short loss on the play. Bring up 2nd down and a long 10, just about back to the line of scrimmage there. So Aggies, kind of bucking the trend where everybody's talking about let's go up tempo, we need to be fast and everything. They're definitely take their time, deliberate coming out of the huddle. They're in no hurry. And it can really wear teams down, I think, when they put together some drives. Schmidt fakes the handoff, now throwing out on the flat. It is complete. Brownell trying to get down to the edge. He was knocked out of bounds, but he'll be down to about the 5-yard line. And it will be first down and goal to go. Pickup of a dozen on that one for the Aggies. Nice play action fake, throws it out there. He had a receiver out to help him block too, but just couldn't quite get the angle to get around there, but still nice pickup on the play. They'll spot it, looks like about the 4-yard line, so first and goal here from the 4 for St. Agnes. Schmidt to Petros. Avoided the first tackler and then brought down shy of the end zone. He'll pick up a yard or two, but it will be 2nd down and goal now for Brooklyn Center, for St. Agnes inside the Brooklyn Center 5. As we tick down to a minute to play here in this first quarter. Aggies were stopped on their first drive, but then they've had outstanding field position each time since, and the first 2 times they capitalized, and they're on the doorstep of trying to do it again here. Schmidt handing it off. Petros working his way forward but did not get there. Mua wrapping him up hard there, and he'll be down to about the 1, but not in. And that might be the final play of the first quarter here. St. Agnes, with as little bit of hurry that they've been in this first quarter, do not need to snap it again, and I don't think they will. Now Schmidt working his way toward the bench. So that is going to be the last play of the opening quarter. Our score after 1 here at Brooklyn Center is St. Agnes 14, BC nothing. The second quarter is on the way here on CCX.
CCX Media is the first place you go for local news and sports. But did you know you can sign up for those stories to go straight to your inbox on our website? Simply go to ccxmedia.org. Click on the subscribe button, and from there choose which notifications you want to receive. Then we'll send your favorite CCX Media news, sports, and city events straight to your inbox. Sign up now at ccxmedia.org.
CCX Media, your source for great local programming, is now available on Roku and Apple TV. Our free app allows you to stream all 3 of our channels live. You also have access to a large on-demand library, including daily newscasts and full sporting events. To find the app, go to the store and search CCX and download our free app. Then sit back and enjoy all of your favorite local content. Now available on Roku and Apple TV.
Welcome back here to Brooklyn Center High School as St. Agnes will begin the second quarter with the football on Brooklyn Center's 1-yard line, already leading at 14-0, and trying to punch in another one here to begin quarter number 2. Centaurs could really use a big stop now, or a turnover would be better yet, but see what happens here as the Aggies come out. Schmidt has Petros and Brunau both in the backfield. And he bobbled the snap a little bit, but Schmidt spinning forward and will be in for the touchdown. I think he intended to hand that ball off, but didn't have it real cleanly, and so just did what he should there, which is get forward as much as he could, and that was enough to put him in the end zone. So third score here for St. Agnes comes on the very first play of the second quarter. Plowman will attempt the extra point again here for the Aggies. And his kick is good. So with 11:54 to go here in the second quarter, it becomes 21-0 in favor of the Aggies. Another look at this one is Schmidt. Yeah, he definitely bobbled it, and he was still bobbling a little bit, but he got enough of a surge from his line to help him get over the goal line there. And a good lesson for young quarterbacks there. If that happens in that spot on the field, just do what you can to get upfield with it. If he tried to hand it off at that point or pitch or anything, it wasn't probably going to turn out well. So even though he didn't have a great grip on it there, he did what he could, and that was enough to score. So Plowman will kick it off here for St. Agnes. He's been a pretty busy man so far here with those 3 extra points, and then obviously the ensuing kickoffs. Dillard Shannon will come up, and it bounces off his hands. He grabs it on the bounce, though, and then is brought down at the 35-yard line. Looked like for a moment that one might be disastrous, but it took a very nice bounce right back up into Jalen's arms, and he just kept on motoring like he'd hardly missed a beat. See that one go right through his hands, couple bounces actually, and then he grabbed it again before he was brought down on a nice physical stop by Ray Tibasar. So Centaurs will have it at the 35-yard line here as they try and get the offense going. As I said, their first 4 games offensively haven't been bad, but they're without their top quarterback and their top 2 receivers today. So that stands to reason that they might struggle a little bit out of the gate. The freshman Simmons at QB, throwing it out for Dillard Shannon in the flat, and he is brought down. Nice stop as Brownell gets there. And will take him down for a big loss, and Dillard Shannon is slow to get up as well. Wow. Not only did they lose big on the play, but they might lose one of their better players, at least for the time being. It'll be a loss of 9 on the play. And Dillard Shannon being tended to here. Hard to say, but you'd kind of lean toward maybe being ankle or lower leg anyway. As you see, Brownell comes up to get him. Yeah, I think that left foot or ankle was kind of turned awkward on as he got brought down. Obviously no malice intended there, just a nice tackle. But let's see if we can see it all. I think it's that, yeah, right there, that left ankle was pinned in a kind of an awkward spot when Brownell dragged him down, and this does not look good as he has to be helped off. So the hits keep coming to the Centaurs. Second and 19 coming for BC as Dillard Shannon goes out of the game. 5 receivers set again like there was last play for BC. Interesting formation. Simmons is going to take off and run. And he is met, and he'll be stopped for another loss. Strung out pretty well there by the Aggies. Michael Dahlstrom among those coming up to meet him there. And another loss of a short loss there for Simmons. So 3rd down and 20 coming up for BC. Simmons looking to throw, and he'll air it out down the sideline, and it is incomplete. Tried to go to Cyrus Patterson Lucas, and he was well defended out there by Dahlstrom. And so we'll bring up a 4th and 20 now for Brooklyn Center. It's worth taking a shot on that one. They had one-on-one coverage, but it was good coverage. And I have to say, I'm kind of glad there wasn't a flag there. Just, it was a couple guys battling for the ball a little bit, but nothing really out of the ordinary. And you start to see so many times where they'll really getting picky on defensive players, not just in high school level, but all levels. And again, it looked like they were not on the same page snap count wise, and BC might be fortunate that this is a penalty because it looked like that punt might have had a pretty good chance of getting blocked as they were slow off the ball, because I believe the snap came earlier than they anticipated. So Enriquez Lopez pushed all the way back near his 10-yard line as he gets set to punt. Rush coming, and they might have got a piece of that ball, but in any event, it's going to take away much of a return chance for the Aggies, and it will be down by Brooklyn Center at the 46-yard line. All things considered, that's not a bad outcome for Brooklyn Center, although is there a flag on the play? I think, yeah, there is, way over near the St. Agnes sideline. And it's going to be a holding penalty against the Aggies, so their field position will be a little bit less than what it looked like it was going to be. pushing back from the spot of where the punt was down. So first accepted penalty against St. Agnes, then a couple against Brooklyn Center. It will still be first down and 10 for the Aggies, but they will start, instead of at their 46, more like the 36. It's really been the field positions that's put this BC defense back on their heels. They had a good stop the first time around, and then Aggies have gotten some nice plays for sure, but they've also had short fields to work with. This one isn't quite as much that way, with ball at the 37 of Brooklyn Center, of St. Agnes. With the toss out to Petros, and he's able to get to the edge. Petros into the secondary, still on his feet, and finally spun down there after a nice gainer. About a 29-yard run here for Petros. You see, he was well blocked in originally, and he didn't have to make any cuts until he was quite some distance downfield, and then finally brought down there by Patterson Lucas. So from the 35 now, first down and 10 here for the Aggies. Back to Petros they go. This time better defended. He'll pick up about 3 or 4. Let's go down to Allie. She's got an injury update for us.
Yeah, Jay, we saw Jalen Dillard-Shannon, the starting running back for Brooklyn Center, coming off the field with what kind of appeared to be a bad left ankle injury. The good news, they're taping it up right now, and they're not doing it with ice. So his return is still questionable, but they might be trying to get him back out there.
Thanks, Allie. And it didn't look good at the time, but sometimes those things can be real painful initially, and then kind of get it to a manageable spot. Here's Petros with a nice gap to run in down the sideline, and he is going to go for the touchdown. 31-yard run for Petros, and he'll pick up his 3rd touchdown of the day, and now we have an injury to a Centaur as well. So 2 Brooklyn Center players actually down. The second one, Deshaun Ware, went down quite a bit after the play, number 93 there. Let's see if we can pick it up, what happens here. Yeah, it was pretty much right away early in the play, it looked like. And hard to tell exactly what happened there, but just looked like kind of a hard block. Looks like Mua was the first player injured on the play. See if we can spot Mua. He's a linebacker cutting across the middle. Oh, he hit head-to-head with his teammate. Yeah, that's what happened. Good second look at that there. Just an unfortunate thing. He was flowing to the ball and ran into a teammate head-to-head there. And I'm not sure if that might have been the teammate he ran into was Ware, as he went down kind of slower after the play. But they hit each other hard. Obviously just an accidental thing, and two BC guys hitting each other. And I kind of think that maybe it was Ware, because he's walking very slowly and gingerly too now. Oh, that's too bad to see. So another teammate coming to help him off. And yeah, he's struggling a little bit here. So Centaurs were already thin in numbers as it is, and now a couple of guys injured on the same play here. So Plymouth on to attempt the extra point here for St. Agnes. And had to rush that one a little bit. The snap was slow getting there, but he still gets it through. Timing wasn't quite as good on that one as the previous ones for St. Agnes, and they go up 28-0. And oh no, another Centaur down on the field here. Trainers were still working with Mua and Ware, who had just gotten injured a moment ago, and now having to hustle back out there. Oh, a big collision. 4 Centaurs getting there together, and I think it's Kaladi Johnson who was down on the field there. He went up, he made a leap to try and block that one, and good effort by the guys to try and get in there and block that thing, and they ended up knocking each other around a little bit. And looks like Johnson saying he's all right. Not what BC needs right now, obviously. So Plowman will kick it off here with the Aggies up 28-0 early in quarter number 2. Of course, Dillard Shannon had been back deep on the returns before, but he's sitting on a cart with his ankle wrapped up, so he's not back there this time, of course. Ball juggled around a little bit and dropped by Simmons. Now he picks it up, trying to get to the outside. A flag is down, and Simmons is brought down at the 25. See what this one's going to be, a hold against Brooklyn Center during that return. So their field position to begin this drive will get a little bit worse. The hold happened right about where he got to eventually, so it'll be just roughly back from the spot where they were going to be anyway. They'll mark them off 10, so Brooklyn Center will begin this drive backed up inside their 15, and already obviously down big and losing players left and right to injury here, unfortunately. Snap coming to Simmons, fakes it and then takes off, and he is brought down after short little run there. Tim Tibasar that is, able to grab him, and they'll lose a couple, maybe 3 on the play. Simmons coming over to visit with Coach Chauncey there. So second down and 13. BC thin in the lineup right now and just trying to piece things together and get something going. They've actually got Ronald Washington there in the backfield. You don't often see a guy wearing 52 playing at a fullback spot. He might be as much of anything as a protector for Simmons back there too. Simmons gonna loft it up left side, and this one is picked off. Intercepted, and a nice stop on the return there, but Dahlstrom able to pick it off here for St. Agnes. And the Aggies will get the football right back. Trying to go deep to Terrion Rogers there, and Dahlstrom had it well covered. Just kind of threw it up for grabs. It was a little short of the mark, and Dahlstrom did a nice job coming back upfield. And then watch this good open field tackle, though, for the Centaurs, as Cameron Dwarka stopped what could have been an even bigger return there for the Aggies. So St. Agnes football at the Brooklyn Center 25-yard line here, already up by a 28-0 count. Schmidt will turn and hand it off. Ooh, and a big stop early on there as Brian Enriquez Lopez made the stop on Bresny. And that'll be a loss of a couple or maybe 3. One of the better defensive plays of the game so far for Brooklyn Center, and he's happy about that. Low key, but happy for sure. And 2nd and 13 coming up. Watch this stop. Enriquez Lopez beating his blocker to the spot and drags Bresny down. Trying to get a little kick-out block was the tight end Tibasar, but he didn't have the angle and got through him. So 2nd and 13 now for St. Agnes. Schmidt handing it off again to Bresny. This time he'll pop through there. Mua is back in there and was able to make the stop at about the 20. He'll gain 7 or so. Bring up a 3rd down and 5 here for St. Agnes. Aggies have only thrown 2 passes. Schmidt's gone 1 for 2. Gonna hand it off to Brownell, and he is wrapped up and dropped. Nice open field stop by Jonathan Meter there for Brooklyn Center. If he didn't get him, that was probably gonna be a 1st down, but he did a nice job shading over that way, and he'll stop Brownell to a short gain here of about a yard. So 4th and 4 coming up here for the Aggies. And in this spot on the field, pretty easy choice to go for it here, I think, for St. Agnes. Even if they get stopped, they, be pinning Brooklyn Center fairly deep in their own end. Split backs this time for Schmidt. Fakes the handoff. Now the rush coming. Schmidt rolling out, and he is going to be dumped. Nice job as Kaladi Johnson is back in there, and he will get the stop, and Brooklyn Center will take over on downs. So a good defensive play there by the Centaurs, or actually a couple of them in a row, as Johnson, you see, he faked the handoff, and Mua blew that one up by getting through there. And then you see Johnson able to make the stop, fought off the stiff arm and threw him down. So Centaurs football at their 21. 5:22 to go here in the 2nd quarter. They trail it big and have struggled. And again, injuries and other guys out have really hurt their offense. Haven't gotten much going at all. Simmons looked, and now he's going to step up and try and run it here. And powered his way through a tackle. Again, that's a pretty big freshman in there at quarterback, and he'll pick up about 6. Let's go down now to Allie.
Yeah, Jay, Coach Williams was telling me before the game that Jalen Simmons does have experience at quarterback. He has played quarterback all last year in middle school. But, being a wide receiver, this is tough to be thrown into, especially when your starting running back is now out of the game, at least indefinitely at this point. So I think we're going to see a lot more of him throwing, which I think he was a little bit more comfortable with in his middle school quarterback days.
Hand off to Washington, and he is going to be very close to picking up the 1st down here. And he might just have it. We said he's a big guy back there. Looks like it is going to be enough for the 1st down. So Washington powering forward will get the 1st down. They're first of the game. I think they would be liking to throw the ball more, but they've had a little bit of snap issues, and protecting has been a little bit of a problem too. So we'll see how much, what the run-pass ratio looks like going forward here the rest of the game. Simmons looking to throw. He's going to throw it up deep down the sideline, and it is incomplete. He was looking for Patterson Lucas. Very similar to one earlier, although there was a little more contact this time. BC bench definitely wanted an interference call on that one, as the D-back Dahlstrom was kind of face guarding him up the field a little bit there. But it'll be a 2nd down and 10. Simmons looking again, and this one will be incomplete, and we've got a flag flying this time as they try to go to Patterson Lucas, and once again it was Dahlstrom on the coverage, and this time I think they're going to get him. Yeah, they've got the signal for pass interference on the defense there as he came up a little bit too aggressive and kind of pushed. Good call, I think, on this one for sure. And it will be another 1st down for BC, this one coming via penalty. So they've got it out to the 45-yard line now, and obviously still plenty of time to go here in this first half, a little under 4 minutes. Simmons looking deep down that sideline again. Double coverage, and Brownell will intercept it. Brownell, the safety, drifting over that way, and he will come up with the catch there for the interception. This one, Simmons just kind of forcing it up. The previous couple plays, it was single coverage out there, and this time it was not, and the help defender, if you will, the safety, came over to make that interception, Brownell, as Caleb Flood was out there on the receiver, Patterson Lucas. So St. Agnes giving up a couple of 1st downs for the first time in the game, but they end up getting the interception to get the football back, and they'll start on their 27, 1st down and 10. Schmidt will hand it off to Brownell. Brownell has some room. One guy to beat. Brownell down the sideline. Washington pursuing him, still chasing. Not going to catch him. It is a touchdown. 63 yards. Make that 73 yards for Brownell as the Aggies stretch their lead. It was well blocked initially. Brownell really never had to break stride, and he just took off running. It looked like he was going to accelerate away from everyone. You could see Washington runs pretty well too, and they stayed even for about 20 yards there, but he just couldn't make up the ground. And Brownell kept those legs churning and able to finish it off for a 73-yard touchdown run. Plowman on for the extra point try, and his kick is up, and it is good. And with 3:41 to go in the first half, it is now 35-0 in favor of St. Agnes. And you watch Brownell take this handoff and cutting it back. See Washington pursuing hard. I thought he might take a dive at him about right there. He looked like he might have been close enough to at least, possibly get a clip on his foot, but and you see Brownell did the right thing, not looking back, keeping that ball up high and tight and just running, and if somebody dives at your feet, they do. But Brownell able to finish it off with the touchdown run. So he becomes the 3rd different Aggie to score here today. Petros has 3 of them. Schmidt, the quarterback, scored 1, and now 73-yard run for Brownell. Kickoff here fielded by Simmons. Simmons getting to the edge, cuts it back, still on his feet. Brooklyn Center, Simmons on the run. He might go. Jalen Simmons for the touchdown. No flags on the play, and the Centaurs are on the board. Well, a couple of earlier ones, he's shown an ability to have some speed and maybe be able to make some guys miss a little bit, and he did so right there all the way down the field. The freshman Simmons electrifying the BC crowd as he takes it the distance. Gets a pat on the back from his coach right there, and unfortunately, obviously, when you're having to play on all the things, he doesn't get a whole lot of time to catch his breath there as he's got to come in and run this extra point play. They will go for 2. Simmons out of the gun here. Looking now, throwing over the middle, but he was bumped into as he threw and short hopped it there. So it will stay at 35-6, but Brooklyn Center on the board as we'll see the return. Maybe about an 83-yarder, we'll call it there, as he fielded it on the 17 or so. And again, same as the previous TD for St. Agnes, there was a guy who looked like he had a shot at him, the kicker Plowman, who was obviously not just a kicker, but a defensive tackle too, but he just couldn't quite catch up to Simmons. And he pulls away to score it for BC. So a little spark maybe before halftime here for Brooklyn Center. Enriquez Lopez will kick off again here for BC. Going to keep it on the ground. Big high bounce. Bresney will field it on the 25. Ooh, and a nice open field tackle by Mua. So the Aggies will have it just shy of the 40-yard line. Nice job of fielding that kick, that bounce, but Mua comes up and makes a stick there. Just a good open field form tackle there. So they'll spot it at the 40 here. St. Agnes 1st and 10. Now prior to that BC touchdown, I would have said St. Agnes probably just going to be content to run the clock out. But, you know, when you see the other team scoring you like that, it, you know, maybe makes them think like, okay, we need to add a little more here perhaps. We'll see. They obviously been sticking with the ground game regardless either way. And we've got, I think we have an equipment issue here. Brooklyn Center player was ordered out of the game. I don't know if he didn't have a mouth guard or what exactly the story was there. It was an official timeout. So now it looks like we are ready to go. 1st and 10 Aggies at their 40. Petros takes the handoff and he is wrapped up. Kaladi Johnson had him up high there, and down a little bit lower, wrapped up around him was Brian Waterhouse. Give him a yard on the play. And it'll be 2nd down and 9. See if that kick return gave the Centaurs some more energy here. They were kind of getting worn out a little bit on defense and allowed some long runs. Obviously the one by Brownell, the biggest. 2nd and 9 here for St. Agnes, and again, they are in no hurry right now. They've been very deliberate in getting up to the ball and calling plays all game long. Back to Petros here. Petros into the Centaur secondary, then makes a nice cut to the outside. Johnson hanging on and will bring him down at about the 26. About a 35-yard gainer there for the Aggies. Another look, you see I got a nice block from Brownell, got outside of Mua right there, then made that nice little cut. You see Johnson, I thought at first he might have the face mask, but I don't think so. Got him by the jersey there, so Aggies football at the 26 now, first down and 10. And they've got their timeouts still available if needed too, and a little over 2 minutes to go in this first half. Back to Petros, and he is popped pretty good there and driven back. As Mua in on the stop again. Give him a yard on that carry. Petros has run it 16 times already in this first half. Well over 100 yards, and then Brownell hasn't carried it much, but one of them was for 73, so that kind of helps the old average a little bit and the total overall for the team too. Ticking down to about 1:40 to go in the first half. A 2nd down and 9 here for St. Agnes. Hand off to Brownell. Stop there for BC by Lucas Bottenfield. Got about 4 or 5 on the play, and we'll bring up a 3rd down here. 3rd and about 4, it appears, for the Aggies, as again they've been in no hurry. I mean, they've got this sizable of a lead. I don't think they're that intent on trying to score again before the half. I think if it comes, it comes, but obviously not using timeouts and not hurrying up there. They're not necessarily trying super hard to punch it in here again. And we'll have a flag flying on this play. Gonna be an offside against the offense. So Tom Flood wanting to see execution a little bit better from his team there. Bring up a 3rd and long. Schmidt bobbled the snap. Now throwing it up. He has a receiver all alone, but Flood, it goes through his hands. Was thrown behind him a little bit, and he was trying to adjust to it. Boy, they had the Centaurs caught with nobody out there at all on Flood, but unable to get it completed. So let's see what they'll do here on 4th down. Only 30 seconds to go in the half. And looks as though they're just going to go ahead and go for it here. Schmidt dropping to throw, now steps up and he's going to take off. Trying to get that 1st down, and it looks like he might have. He'll be down to the 15 and 22.9 seconds to go. And he should have enough for the 1st down, and he does. So it looked like a little quarterback draw there, and Schmidt did a nice job weaving his way up the sideline. Got just enough for the 1st down, and the Aggies still alive here in this first half. Schmidt looking over the Centaurs defense here. Gonna hand it off to Brownell. Brownell spinning forward inside the 10 to about the 9. And then they will use a quick timeout. It's interesting how the complexion of a drive changes, throughout the drive late in this half. They weren't necessarily trying to score, and then they get that big 1st down, and they say, okay, well now we're going to use this timeout and see if we can't get something. And keep in mind, they appear to have quite a good kicking game as well, as they've made all 5 of the extra points that they've attempted. So if they need to try a field goal. They probably feel that it's at least a realistic possibility anyway. Brooklyn Center defensive coordinator Daryl Young there, hoping his team can get a stop. Obviously the first half overall hasn't gone especially well for BC, but they got that kick return for a touchdown, and if they could get a stop here, just make them feel a little bit better heading into halftime. And St. Agnes trying to punch it in once more here. Schmidt's looking to throw. Across the middle, and he's got him for the touchdown. Flood hauling it in. They just failed to connect earlier on a play when Flood was wide open, and this one will go for the touchdown. And St. Agnes getting one late in the half. Plymouth again on to attempt the extra point. And he boots another one through. He has had himself a nice day as a kicker so far. 6 for 6 on extra points. Another look at this one. Be a 5-yard touchdown pass as Flood coming open there in the middle of the end zone. And Schmidt has his first touchdown throw of the day and 5th of the season. So the Aggies able to push one across, and you almost kind of wonder a little bit if Brooklyn Center hadn't returned that kickoff for a touchdown, if maybe the Aggies wouldn't have necessarily tried to score there. But again, it's still the first half. I don't think you don't fault a team for adding a touchdown when they can late like that, when we still got a whole another half of football to go. Plowman will kick it away here. Trying to drop one in between levels of the return team there, but instead kicks it out of bounds. So legal procedure, a kick out of bounds there for the Aggies. Will give Brooklyn Center good field position here to begin their last chance with the ball, but only 12.7 seconds remaining. Gonna need to break something big here if they're gonna do it, because they're also down to one timeout left as well. So Simmons coming out here to see what they'll do here with could be the last play of the half coming up here perhaps. Simmons rolling out to his right, and he is brought down. Ooh, and he went down awkwardly there. Javon Jones making the stop. And unfortunately, Simmons gets up hobbling there. The clock should have run out there, and now it's running again. Yeah, so the clock is going to wind down to 0, and unfortunately, oh no, Simmons is hurt there late in the half as well. So we have reached the halfway point in this one, and it's been obviously mostly St. Agnes. Our score here, 42-6. in favor of the Aggies. Brooklyn Center getting that kick return for a touchdown by Simmons, but besides getting bounced around a little bit on the scoreboard, they've unfortunately had their injuries have mounted up a little bit as well. So that's a tough thing for Brooklyn Center right now. You see the band on hand here, homecoming day at Brooklyn Center. All right, let's go down now on the field, Allie's with Coach Flood.
Thanks, Jay. Coach, offense hasn't been too much of a problem, neither has defense. What's been the key to that balanced attack in the first?
Well, they're down some football players. I mean, they're down some of their best players, and that's tough. And so, that being said, they got probably some new kids out there playing that are the first time, on the field maybe, and they're probably making some mistakes, and we're just, seasoned enough today to find the mistakes, and, they're showing, and that's unfortunate.
What's something that you've been impressed with what your kids did do in the first half?
Our line is blocking better. We've really been working on our offensive line of getting down on people and getting, keeping their heads down and driving their feet. So they got to be doing some of that because Brooklyn Center's got a good defensive front, and we're getting some yardage up front by running the football. So,
with a skewed score like this, what's the game plan for the second half?
I'll shorten the game as much as we can. We run the football, so we're just going to keep running the football. We'll work the clock. I don't want to give back to them. They can score. Make no mistake, Brooklyn Center can score. Levin's a real nice ball player, and so I don't want to give him an opportunity to touch football. So we'll run it out, and we'll work the clock and take as much time off the clock as we can to shorten this game. Because Brooklyn Center's got some real nice, skilled athletes.
And not bad watching your son hauling a TD as well.
It was nice.
Okay, thanks, Coach. Jay.
Thank you very much, Allie, and thanks to Coach Flood as St. Agnes leading this one 42-6 at halftime here on homecoming at Brooklyn Center. And again, we remind you that Chick-fil-A of Maple Grove sponsors our CCX Sports Play of the Week. We got 4 candidates, and you can go to our website and vote for them. As we take you to halftime break, we'll give you a look at those plays and come back with our first half highlights, stats, and more here on CCX.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma. I have a mentor, and she convinced me to continue my education. No one receives a diploma alone. If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
If you love them enough to drive an hour to cheer them on as they get beat 11-0 in the rain, then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the-right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Throw that ball, Diane. Woo! You got this.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
Get it.
Get it. Get it.
Give your town a reason to celebrate, because every Goodwill item you bring home brings job training and more to your community. Goodwill. Bring good home.
Opiates has taken everything and everyone I've ever loved away from me. Everything.
I blew my ankle out and I got prescribed pain pills by my doctor.
If making my detox public is gonna help somebody, I'm all for it. I just wish I would have had a warning.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
Welcome back. Youth football taking over the field here at halftime. Ooh, a nice open field stop by that young guy there. So these guys getting a chance, and this is obviously how you hope to build your program for the future. You see kids, obviously you want them playing football when they're younger, but also a chance to come over here and play on this field and, look toward the future of hopefully being Centaurs as well. Take a look at some first half highlights from this afternoon's contest here as St. Agnes kind of took over fairly early on here as they get the early touchdown plunge by Petros from a yard out. That one started with a good kick return, and then he makes a nice juke and cuts in for a 16-yard touchdown on the toss. It was 14-0 after one quarter. And then on the first play of the second quarter, Schmidt actually bobbled the snap, but then spun his way in to give the Aggies a 21-0 lead. Long throw up for grabs here, and this one with 2 interceptions in the first half for St. Agnes. Dahlstrom getting that one. And the handoff going to Brownell, and he is going to go here as he dashes 73 yards for the score. Another interception here is this one thrown up, and this is Brownell doing it on the defensive end for the Aggies. Here's the big play of the half for Brooklyn Center as Simmons taking it on the kick return. Cuts his way back up the middle. And they are not going to catch him. Goes 83 yards for the score, and that one made it 35-6. But late in the half, the Aggies get one more. Caleb Flood hauling in the pass there from Schmidt. Make it a 42-6 lead, and you can see the stats pretty heavily in favor of St. Agnes. Obviously, the kick return yard is not showing up in the plays from scrimmage here for BC as they've got minus yardage overall. And a couple of turnovers cost them as well. And as Coach Flood alluded to, obviously, Brooklyn Center came into the game shorthanded and have had some injuries happen along the way as well in this one. So tough battle in the second half. So 42-6 lead for St. Agnes. And a touchdown at halftime for that youth player as he finishes off a long run. Crowd getting into it on that one. We will step aside and come back with more here from Brooklyn Center High School. It is the Aggies leading the Centaurs here at halftime.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread. and kiss them all soundly.
Lights out.
And put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Sure, I look cute now, but when my owner lost his job, it was rough. I was living on the street, and one night, me and this Cocker Spaniel got into it so bad, I wound up looking like an ice cream cone. I cried a little bit, but thankfully I got rescued, so I'm running, I'm jumping, all back to my old self, and I'm ready to give unconditional love, even if you put a lampshade on my head.
CCX Media, your source for great local programming, is now available on Roku and Apple TV. Our free app allows you to stream all 3 of our channels live. You'll also have access to a large on-demand library, including daily newscasts and full sporting events. To find the app, go to the store and search CCX and download our free app. Then sit back and enjoy all of your favorite local content. Now available on Roku and Apple TV.
Operation Wonder Park is a go!
There's nothing more powerful than imagination.
Honey, have you seen my cell phone?
But don't just imagine.
My park came to life?
Ooh, a plot twist.
Use STEM to build, create.
She did it.
And change the world.
Who's with me?
I'm more of a 2 feet on the ground kind of guy.
It's gonna hurt tomorrow.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
There are amazing things to discover in the forest.
Toothless, time to go. What you picking up on, bud?
It's a whole hidden world of wonders. And the perfect place to spend time with family. What better place to let your imagination soar? Experience nature and create a memory you can share. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest or park near you.
What to expect when you're expecting.
Like here.
A teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to teen-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys. Preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
I'm ready for the... Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who wants to care of you.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfies, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
One in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. That means it could be you, your favorite brother, your other brother. You, your boss, your boss's boss. You, your barber, your barber's barber.
Nice work.
Thanks.
Or you, your co-pilot, your co-pilot's co-pilot. With early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
And welcome back here to Brooklyn Center as the youth players getting a nice extended rundown here on the field. Take a look at the standings so far in the Twin City Metro Rivers sub-district here as you see Concordia, who knocked off the St. Agnes team last week, has gotten off to a 2-0 start. And Breck's been playing very well, 4-0 overall, with just one of the wins coming within this sub-district. And you see St. Agnes 3-1 start, although only the one game within the sub-district. Other games for week 5 tonight around the CCX viewing area. Champlain Park's at Anoka in the battle for the paddle. Maple Grove on the road at Centennial. Armstrong's at Irondale. Cooper's at Jefferson. Wayzata Eden Prairie is the big one. And Breck hosting Academy Force. Benilde has Holy Angels at home. Park Center's at Coon Rapids. Tino Grace at Osseo. And then Providence Academy making the journey to Stewartville. Sun peeking back out again as the teams warm up for the second half. The youth guys still doing battle. Let's go down now to the sideline and Allie.
Thanks, Jay. Coach, you said it before the game. Next man up, and that injury plague is just getting after you guys. What are you going to do in the second half with what you've got left?
Just keep playing. Yeah. Next man up. No excuses. It's a great opportunity for us to learn and get some of our younger guys involved who maybe haven't had the opportunity early in the season. So it's a learning experience right now. We told them 0-0 at halftime. We're not going to quit. We're going to keep fighting every single play. And hopefully, hey, we might pull off a miracle. If not, we learned a lot.
Well, it was a great touchdown kind of heading into halftime there. What did you like that you did see out of your team in the first half?
Right now, we haven't quit. Okay, it's not going great for us at the moment. We got some adversity we have to overcome. We haven't quit. We're still fighting, and we talked about before the game. It's all about effort for us on our team. But right now, we got the effort, so we just want to keep that going. 0-0 mentality, see what we can do to shake this thing up and get back in it. If not, like I said, we're going to get a lot of experience tonight.
How's the rest of the team feeling when you talk to them at half? Are they feeling some of that positivity that you're trying to force into them?
Yeah. They're very receptive. They understand our situation isn't ideal, but again, that's life. And that's what we teach them all the time, life experience. The experience that we're learning right now, the lesson is, hey, it's not always fair. Situation happens that's beyond your control. Control what you control, give your best.
That's all it takes sometimes, Coach. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Jay.
Thanks, Allie, and thanks, Coach. And he's staying upbeat, obviously, and that's something that is good to see. And obviously, you know, you're teaching things for beyond just tonight's game too. So that's what they're sticking with. We will take one more time out. We'll come back with our second half of football here. St. Agnes up big, but the Centaurs not quitting, as Coach said right there.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly.
Lights out. Good night.
And put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Sure, I look cute now, but when my owner lost his job, it was rough. I was living on the street, and one night, me and this Cocker Spaniel got into it so bad, I wound up looking like an ice cream cone. I cried a little bit, but thankfully I got rescued, so I'm running, I'm jumping, all back to my old self, and I'm ready to give unconditional love, even if you put a lampshade on my head.
CCX Media, your source for great local programming, is now available on Roku and Apple TV. Our free app allows you to stream all 3 of our channels live. You also have access to a large on-demand library, including daily newscasts and full sporting events. To find the app, go to the store and search CCX and download our free app. Then sit back and enjoy all of your favorite local content. Now available on Roku and Apple TV.
Operation Wonder Park is a go!
There's nothing more powerful than imagination.
Honey, have you seen my cell phone?
But don't just imagine.
My park came to life?
Ooh, a plot twist.
Use STEM to build, create.
She did it.
And change the world.
Who's with me?
I'm more of a 2 feet on the ground kind of guy.
It's gonna hurt tomorrow.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma. I have a mentor, and she convinced me to continue my education. No one receives a diploma alone. If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
If you love them enough to drive an hour to cheer them on as they get beat 11-0 in the rain, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Throw that ball, Diane! Woo! You got this!
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
And welcome back here. Brooklyn Center trying to battle their way back into this one, down big at halftime, but hoping to change that up a little bit as the second half starts. Unfortunately, very late in the half, their quarterback, Jalen Simmons, was nicked up a little bit. Let's go to Allie now with a report on him.
Yeah, Jalen spent the entire halftime on the golf cart, icing his knee. It was kind of questionable. I wasn't sure if he was going to return, but the second that halftime ended there, he took the ice off. He's been jogging the sidelines. No limps, doesn't look like there's any tenderness. That is good news for Brooklyn Center because they'll still need him out here in the second half.
Thanks, Allie, and that's for sure. Again, if you're just joining us, Jalen is their second-string quarterback, but forced into duty because Ramirez Sikora had an injury and is not available tonight. So Simmons, who had the only score for BC on that long kickoff return, and it was very late, end of the half, actually, final play of the half, that he got dragged down and kind of twisted awkwardly, but looks as though he's going to be able to get out there and be playing to begin the second half. Looks like we are about ready to go. This was about the longest halftime I've ever seen, and then now we're standing out here for no apparent reason. We're letting that time tick down. Well, we said quarterback second string up after the original starter was injured. Allie has a report on him too.
Well, yeah, it appears as though, usually football, you can get dinged up playing out on the field, but his injury actually came in gym class, and coach said his ankle is about double the size of what it should be, so no timetable on his return to the team yet, but gym class, got to be careful out there.
Backpedaling to grab it on the return here. And Johnson gets away. Wow, he nearly escaped entirely, but he'll be brought down at about the 22-yard line. I guess in a way you could say that must mean that he was working hard in gym class and not just sloughing off, but unfortunate when that happens. Can't say it's the first time I've ever heard that, though. I've heard that in other years as well, that occasionally that kind of thing can happen. So it'll be Centaur football at the 24-yard line to begin this second half. Simmons is indeed coming out to quarterback the team as he gets instruction from the bench. Again, the sun popping out. It's been cloudy all day long, but maybe a little rain very early in the day, but since then it's been pretty nice, and now the sun popping out here. Centaurs trying to get something going after a difficult first half. Low snap here. He's going to hand it off to Washington. Washington's a pretty good-sized running back, and he nearly ran someone over there. He'll pick up a couple. You heard Coach Flood from St. Agnes say, we're gonna try and eat up the clock, and he said, we're a team that runs the ball most of the time anyway, so we're not going to have to do anything terribly difficult. But you could tell in his voice and with what he said that he kind of feels for Brooklyn Center a little bit, just with all the injuries that have been happening. So they would like to just kind of run this one and get out of here with a win. Second down. This pass fluttering short, coming back for it and nearly catching it was Johnson, but it will fall incomplete. Pass well underthrown. He didn't really get a good spiral. It looked like it came out of Simmons' hand a little bit off. And the good news when you're the receiver, though, you're the guy that has a better look at that ball coming back, and he almost got it. So third down and 9. Simmons throwing, and he has the completion. There is a flag down on the play, though. This one might be coming back. Threw it toward where you would often see holding call, but we'll see. Oh, we've got a personal foul. Oh, and an ejection. And we see an ejection for both teams. Looks like personal fouls on each team, and those two players were ejected. Going to work on sorting this one out still. I don't know if it'll be a replay of the down situation. They've still got the ball moved upfield where the catch was made. So the penalties will offset. We'll replay the down, and then it looks like the ejections will stand, though. So third and long here for BC. Unfortunately, they don't get that completion. Must have been a couple people going at it pretty good back there. We didn't really see what the penalty was. Here's a long toss down the sideline, intercepted by Flood, as he got good position on the receiver and was able to step in and pick it off. And so the Aggies will get the football back. See Simmons looking deep downfield, airing it out. A little underthrown, and the receiver had a step on Flood, but he played it well. So they'll start with it on their 45-yard line, and obviously it was a long halftime, and you have to wonder about momentum anymore. They played a really good first half and pretty much dominated, but it's kind of hard to figure that they won't have a little bit let down or relax a little bit. We'll see how things go to begin this half. Schmidt will hand it off. And a little bit of a push as the linemen join in, as Petros carrying that one for a gain of 4. And looks like another injury, unfortunately, for the Centaurs. I believe that's Waterhouse. He might have been involved in that pile up there, as they kind of had Petros wrapped up, and then O-line kept their surge going a little bit, and just a bunch of players fell in a big stack there. See if we can see in the middle here where, yeah, he's the one who's got a hold of the ball carrier and being pushed back and kind of fallen on there. As Dominic Smith was continuing his block there. This looks like they might be tending to the back of his neck. Obviously taking a lot of precautions here, as Waterhouse trying not to move him too much the way it looked there. Early here in the third quarter, St. Agnes leading this one 42-6, and unfortunately a string of injuries for BC here, and this one looks like it might be one that they're a little bit worried about, or at least trying to make sure that they're careful with him. So we'll take a timeout here, and as they tend to, Brian Waterhouse says a hush has fallen over the crowd a little bit here, and you can see why. So hopefully he's all right. We'll take a break and come right back here to Brooklyn Center High School.
There are amazing things to discover in the forest.
Toothless, time to go. What you picking up on, bud?
It's a whole hidden world of wonders. And the perfect place to spend time with family. What better place to let your imagination soar? Experience nature and create a memory you can share. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest or park near you.
Good news, the big guy Brian Waterhouse able to slowly walk off after being down on the field for some time. And yeah, it does seem as though it's his neck that they're looking at or working with there. So be a 2nd down and 5 coming up for St. Agnes here out of the injury stoppage. They are right at midfield. Schmidt will hand it off to Petros, and a good solid tackle made on him. As coming up for the stop there was Simmons. Got a couple on the carry. And we'll bring up 3rd and about 3 here for St. Agnes. Schmidt will hand it off to Petros again, and he is going to get enough for the 1st down as the tackler actually kind of drove him forward a little bit there. But he'll cross the 45 and will have enough to earn a 1st down here for St. Agnes. The 44-yard line of Brooklyn Center. Again, this is the pace that St. Agnes has played at all game, and they're, even more so maybe now, but they have been very deliberate in working their way up to the line of scrimmage. And new quarterback in there now for the Aggies, Dominic Adkins. Oh, and he fumbles the first snap that he tried to take, and looks like Brooklyn Center will have the football. Recovered by Kaladi Johnson. So the Aggies turn it over for the first time, and it's first snap that Dominic Adkins, a freshman, took and didn't come up with it clean. So BC will have the football at their 45. See Adkins coming out of there and never really had it. Good job by Johnson to see it. Boy, your eyes light up. You know there's going to be probably a big pile falling on you, but when you see that football loose in the middle of the field like that, you go get it, and that's what he did. Looks like a new quarterback for Brooklyn Center as well, Noah Bonds, number 4. Bonds will hand it off. Not a lot of running room there for Leray Gibson. Gibson with a short loss on the play of about a yard, so be 2nd and long now for Brooklyn Center. It looks like both teams pulling a fair amount of their starters at this point. Bonds will drop to throw. Swings it out and incomplete. A pretty well thrown ball, but Gibson took his eye off it and it'll fall incomplete. So 3rd down coming up for BC. Bonds will throw it again and is able to get it complete. Getting it to Shawnee Minter on the catch. It'll be 4th and about 8 now for Brooklyn Center. Bonds firing deep downfield, and Johnson couldn't quite come up with it. Boy, that one broke open in a hurry, and pretty well thrown ball again by Bonds. Those are a little tough, though, kind of going over the shoulder, and Johnson couldn't quite bring it in. So, little spark of excitement there, but just didn't quite get the connection. You see, he runs past the defender and got him in the hands, but couldn't quite bring it in. So the Aggies will take over on downs at Brooklyn Center's 47-yard line. And the timeout will be taken by St. Agnes. I think this was a we don't have enough people or enough people in the right positions kind of thing for them, as they, you go into your second group, but obviously when there's things that have happened for both ways, where you have maybe injury or somebody not used to playing a certain spot, it's not quite the same as the real large schools where they've probably got a full second team of 11 that always plays together and all that kind of thing. And so Aggies had to burn a timeout here to make sure they had the right guys out there and the right guys in the right spots. Let's go down to Alley.
AJ, you know the name Adam Thielen, right? He used to play in some purple as well. Maybe that's why he picked Brooklyn Center, or maybe it's because they're a very deserving school. But the Adam Thielen Foundation donated $10,000 in new sports equipment, including cleats for this football team this year. That foundation money is also going towards the renovation of the Centaur weight room. And each fall sport student athlete is getting a $75 gift card to Shields. And then he's also helping cover some athletic fees for some of the students as well. And each player from each fall sports team is getting one player from each team is getting a $1,000 scholarship based on who displays the most leadership, teamwork, and dedication. Pretty awesome, and this school really did deserve it.
Thanks, Allie, and that really was a nice thing for the Thielen family and foundation to do, and yeah, I like the purple connection. I'd like to think that had something to do with it, maybe not. But Eddie Schmitz on the carry there for for St. Agnes, and nice stop by a host of Centaurs there, really flowing to the ball nicely. So no gainer on the play there. Something that kind of goes overlooked, I think, sometimes is how many nice things for the community that Vikings as an organization do, but also as individual players. They have, their day off from practice usually is spent doing some nice things in the community. Racing around the edge there was Adkins, the quarterback, before he's shoved out of bounds. Or actually, I guess he was knocked down inbounds, they say, because the clock is wound again and still continues to run. Got down to about the 40-yard line there. So it'll be 3rd down and 3 or so here for the Aggies. Hand it off again, and that'll be easily enough for the 1st down as Schmitz running the football, the junior. Spotted at the 34 of Brooklyn Center, so on a fresh set of downs to work with here for the Aggies. Can really see that they are trying to use as much time between plays here too, as a quarterback eyeing that back judge to see when they get down to start the manual count by hand before they're looking to snap the ball. Whoa, just barely got that handoff off, and Schmitz then was dumped. He was met by Tyler David. Boy, there was a lot of pressure coming in, and Atkins just barely got that ball away. So it'll be 2nd and long coming up here for St. Agnes. Again, they lead at 42-6. That was our halftime score as well. And drops the snap again. Brooklyn Center's going to have it again. Mua with the recovery there for BC. And so a little trouble for the backup quarterback Atkins. A couple of drop snaps here for the Aggies, and Mua recovering. Brooklyn Center will get the football back at their 33. Noah Bonds, the 2nd quarterback to play today, really the 3rd stringer for Brooklyn Center, and actually threw a couple pretty nice balls there in that first drive that he was in. So see if he can help them create a little bit of magic here in this 4th quarter. Obviously the game, pretty well out of reach and all that, but still you like to see some guys come in and make plays. And speaking of making plays there, not too bad a run by Gibson. Under a minute to go in this 3rd quarter. Gibson will rip off about 5 on that play. Bring up a 2nd down and 5 now for the Centaurs. Bonds handing it off, and Gibson is wrapped up and brought down. First guy there for St. Agnes was Tommy Fisher, number 14. And that's going to do it for our 3rd quarter of play, so no scoring in the quarter. St. Agnes keeps the big lead. After 3, it's 42-6 Aggies. The 4th quarter is up next on CCX. There you see the score by quarter as St. Agnes took a 14-0 lead, then put 28 more up on the board in the 2nd, and now we've got backups in throughout the lineup for both teams here, and no scoring in the third. We head to quarter number 4. Brooklyn Center will have the football, third down and about 6. Bonds looking to throw and incomplete. Nearly picked off over there, actually. The best shot of probably there was Ray Tibasar, number 17. So, be a punting situation you'd think for BC, although I guess with this score and everything, it's not out of the question that they just go ahead and go for it here. Kind of looks like that might be the case. And we're going to now have a timeout taken by Brooklyn Center. I was thinking they must be getting close to a delay game, as they were talking for quite some time with quarterback Bonds over there before he even came out to the formation. Well, remember to vote for our Play of the Week, brought to you by Chick-fil-A in Maple Grove. As each week we have 4 big plays for you to choose from, and the viewers decide the winner. Go to ccxmedia.org, click on the sports tab and Play of the Week, and vote for your favorite. And again, brought to you by Chick-fil-A of Maple Grove. Here's what's coming up for Brooklyn Center as they go over to St. Paul to take on Concordia Academy next week, and then have Henry and Edison in the following games. Gosh, it's hard to believe those are the last 3 of the regular season now. You know, good news too is we see that Brian Waterhouse is back in there. He was the guy who was down for quite some time. Big number 64 there is in at left guard for Brooklyn Center. Bonds looking to throw, slings it out there, and it is incomplete. Trying to go to Kaladi Johnson. The defender kind of cut him off on his route there, Tibasar, but not enough to draw a flag. So it'll be St. Agnes taking over on downs. Again, in that spot in the game, you know, with this score and all that, not a bad thing to go for it there, I think, for Brooklyn Center. Not, you know, give your team an opportunity to make a play. It didn't quite happen, but Adkins still in there at quarterback for the Aggies. He's had a couple of fumbled snaps that cost them possession. Handing it off, and Schmitz probably wish he hadn't handed it to him, as he was met instantly by Brian Enriquez Lopez. And that'll be a loss of a couple on that play. Adkins going with the toss. Little room on the edge, and nice cut back, breaking through a couple tackles. Not quite going to be enough for the first down, but John Maitland had himself a pretty good run there, the freshman. So leave them with a 3rd down and a short 4 here for the Aggies. Handoff again, and not much doing this time for Mayland as the Centaurs defense stacked it up. Be a short loss on the play, and will bring up a 4th down situation. Kind of doubt that the Aggies will go to the air here, but you never know. Adkins is in trouble, and down he goes as Washington shot through and brings him down before he even had a chance to get back into his drop. See, this one was in trouble right from the get-go, and Washington able to bring him down, so Brooklyn Center take over on downs. That one bounces back to Bonds, and he's just going to fall on it at the 30. A loss of 7 on the play. Probably did the right thing there. That ball was bouncing, going to be bouncing at around his shin level too, so not like he really had a chance to just catch it on the hop. So just keep possession and live the fight again on the next play. Oops, everybody getting started at different times here. I was just thinking before that they, considering the score and that they have all backups in, they've become willing to overlook a little bit of, guys, O-linemen or tight ends or whatever leaning. I've seen it on both teams where they have not thrown flags when they possibly could have, but that one was too obvious. They just had to. Second and very long now as Bonds trying to sling it out in the flat, but it is batted by the pass rusher there. Getting his hand on it was Aiden Walsh. And knocked it down. No chance to get a completion after that. And 3rd down and long for Brooklyn Center. Need about 22 yards for a 1st down. And again, with this margin, the clock running here in the 4th quarter. Ooh, and he had to scramble for the snap again. Bonds throwing and almost intercepted. Diving try at it there for St. Agnes by Ray Tibasar. So another 4th down try at it here for Brooklyn Center. This one a much longer distance to go though. Another low snap. Bonds rushed and throws that one. Actually a nice catch on the bench there. Made by a guy who's had a good game earlier in the game, Petros. But it'll be turned over on downs here as St. Agnes gets the football back in BC's end of the field at the 25-yard line. There you see his teammates giving him a little, I don't know if they were impressed with his touchdowns earlier, but how about that catch when you were on the sideline, man? That was beautiful. Freshman Dominic Adkins, first things first here, checking to make sure we've got all 11 in the huddle that we need, and then get back to the line of scrimmage. I think the Aggies would just as soon get this one over with right now. Built that big lead, and you go with a little toss out to Malin there, breaks through one tackle. Then it looked like he had room to maybe keep going around the edge, but he cut it back and sort of cut back into the flow of defenders there a little bit. Gets back to about the line of scrimmage, and that's it. So it'll be a 2nd down and 10 here for St. Agnes. And dropped on the snap again, and then Adkins is knocked down. He'll lose a few. BC still has some of their frontline guys, and I think probably more than anything is just because they don't really have anybody else too. So a couple of their guys have been able to kind of blow some things up against the second unit for St. Agnes a bit. Be a 3rd down and long coming here for the Aggies. Adkins, play action, then rolling out, looking to run it. Got a block on the edge there, and then was cut down by Mua. Be short of the 1st down. Decent run, though. And looks like Mua is injured, trying to make that tackle. His teammate actually telling him, yeah, you got to go out, man. So he waved somebody else in from the bench. Looks like his left arm or shoulder that he's holding. So a 4th down play coming up for St. Agnes. We go under 2 minutes to play in this one. All the scoring came in the first half. It's 42-6 St. Agnes. And looking to convert on a 4th down play here. Go with the toss to Mayland. Slips through a tackle, and he'll have the 1st down before being dragged down on the sideline there. As Meter got to him, but not until he'd picked up the 1st down. You see right there, he's just able to get around the edge and slip through, and then Meter has him measured up pretty good, and a physical tackle there into that sideline marker. So it will be 1st and goal to go here for St. Agnes, but they're not real worried about scoring again here late here. 1:10 to go in the game. Adkins giving it off. And they'll stack them up around the 5-yard line as Malin taking that handoff. That's the thing, if you're the coach, I mean, you don't necessarily want to score again, but at the same time, you can't, it's hard to tell your second string guys, you know, don't try to put it in the end zone. So they're going to just keep running what they're running, and if it happens to go in the end zone, I think that'll be okay. Might be the final play of the game here, probably will be one way or the other. Going to go back with that toss again to Malin, and he is brought down right near the line of scrimmage. And I doubt the Aggies will run another play here. No real reason to at this point. And we are going to tick down to zeros on the clock. So a shorthanded Brooklyn Center team had some injuries within the game as well. And they will fall to 1-4 as St. Agnes coming up with a strong first half. They had a short field to work with on a few occasions, which really helped them build that lead. And they will improve to 4-1 with a 42-6 win over Brooklyn Center here this evening. So the Centaurs, first and foremost, need to get healthy a little bit as they get set for their final 3 games of the regular season. So congrats to the Aggies and best of luck the rest of the season to both teams. We appreciate both coaches as well, Coach Flood from St. Agnes and Coach Chauncey Williams-Bearfield from Brooklyn Center, for talking with us before the game and with Allie at halftime as well. So that'll do it for our telecast here from Brooklyn Center High School. Homecoming doesn't go the Centaurs' way. It's St. Agnes 42, Brooklyn Center 6.